We are back again with Triple Threat 3. We have two Lady Tabaxis trying to survive out in the jungles. Um, I don't have a definite location, but I'm going to use Cholt since it's already developed, and it can be very sandboxy if you want. I have LadyShel here. Say hi, LadyShel.
Hi, LadyShel. I think you don't know how to count. There's three of us here.
Uh-huh. And let's introduce the other. Last time, Erelon actually played the character during the test play. But we have the player that is normally designated to play, and that is Jadedragonette. Go ahead and say hi to the stream.
Hello.
Hello. And last but not least, we have Roastedbeans playing Felony or Felonious Feline.
Hello.
Hello. All right. So today we're going to just kind of talk about our backstories, get to know one another. We might do a little bit of combat or something like that if we get far enough along in our discussions today. We're still kind of in the test phase. We're going to call this a session 0. If any of you tuned in last time, we actually had a combat encounter to test the characters out. And we were able to determine that the characters weren't so bad. We also had a small mission where we were trying to recover a small child that had come up missing. So if we get far enough along here in the next hour or so, we'll go ahead and run a little mini encounter and get all the ladies acquainted again, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again Thursday. And after that, I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but we'll give it a shot. So without further ado, if you ladies don't mind, let's take a look at your backstories and your notes on the Notes tab. And there really is no methodology other than making notes and talking amongst each other, getting approvals from your DM, and having fun.
I was looking at the wrong notes tab. You mean the notes tab on the
Yep.
character sheet, not the notes tab in the
Yeah, but I
banner
do
on the
want you
right.
to bring out that Notes tab if you want to perhaps write up something that you don't want the other players to know just yet. Or if you have some ideas as to maybe a combined backstory as to how you guys met. So Katcha here is a female tabaxi. Her real name is Katcha, but the street name is Katcha because that's what people think. And Katcha is basically a huntress ranger, and she kind of has a dark, brooding past because she was basically haunted during her younger years. So she has a little bit of PTSD from some things that had happened to her in her younger days. And Felony, she was pretty much raised in a city. At one time, she did live in one of the major cities on the eastern side of Cholt, like perhaps Port Nyanzaru, one of those places. And she had a patron who she was originally sold to, and basically she thought she was just going to be a pet. Well, over time, she kind of became more or less like a companion, and then she became nearly an equal. And over time, she became like a child to this explorer that had taken her on journeys throughout the jungle. So, from the time she was captured, sold into slavery, and put into this strange person's home and domesticated, she had kind of become her own person and then developed some other skills along the way. And last but not least, Khatri is a wild sorceress, and we're not 100% sure what exactly gave her magic, but she is a wild, basically a sorceress with wild magic. And as far as she can remember, something really catastrophic happened. Catastrophic, get it? She basically a meteor came down, or an asteroid, and it landed in the middle of the jungle, and it happened to be near her village. And after it landed, she was too young to really remember what happened, but she got really sick, and she stayed sick for quite a while. And when she turned closer to an adolescent, that sickness started going away, but her powers started to manifest. So she's almost got the, I wouldn't say Superman thing, but she kind of has an exposure to some kind of foreign energy, or something happened to her, maybe a mutation of some sort. But she's definitely gained access to shape the different powers and energies required. And it is also within her. So now she has a battery of magical power. So that's about all I have for the characters as far as a starting point. You guys are free to alter or change that in any way you like. That is by no means what has to be. If you don't like that backstory, you can alter it some. But I'd like you guys to kind of weave it together after those events. Um, for instance, Katcha probably moved on later on in life and became a guide and a scout. And also, she would be for hire if someone was having trouble with some kind of monster or something like that. Because she does not like wizard experiments or any sort of devils or demons. Whereas Felony would have probably taken over for her mentor had his family not come and claimed the estate, kicked her out, and basically left her with very little. And Khatri probably wandered around after her village. Uh, a lot of the people from her original village had passed away. So she probably moved on and maybe followed somebody, and then eventually became old enough to take care of herself, and her power started to manifest. So perhaps she had visited a guru or some sort of um, magical tutor to kind of give her comfort and assistance in how she, could control her magic. Basically, I think that's one of her goals, is to figure out a way to control the magic that she's been gifted, but it hasn't been very successful so far. So it could potentially mean that Khatri, you might have a few hangups about casting the magic. I mean, mental hangups. You probably had a couple bad results.
All
So
right.
so any initial thoughts, um, Felonious? Felonious feline felony.
I do. My patron was looking for something that many things, which he searched for and took me with. But there was one particular thing he was looking for and he didn't find it. And I am always on the lookout for this. Is this an item or was it a civilization or
It's more of a sight.
a site? Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Okay. And it also mentioned that here that the family kicked me out. They gutted the house. But he did leave me the monocle. And then it says, well, two or three things he left you. So
Yes.
could he have also either left me or I made off with the notes about this particular item?
Yes, you have a diary, and if you look in your inventory,
There.
yep, it's a journal basically. I guess you wouldn't call it a diary, but I call it a journal slash diary because I don't even know if your mentor was male or female, but I know that whoever it was, they were good to you.
I guess I always pictured because he had a monocle that it was
Yes,
an older gentleman,
correct.
kind of like a almost an absent professor type
Yeah, he was a
person.
really nice guy. He had servants, but they weren't really slaves. They were more like friends. He treated them fairly well. When you first got there, it was kind of a shock, and you were, fixing to escape. And I think one time you actually did escape, and then you realize it wasn't that hard to escape, and you like went out for like a week or something like that. You eventually came back, and he goes, "Oh, there you are." So it wasn't like he sent anyone out chasing after you either. So you
Yeah,
kind of figured out that you're not a slave, that you're kind of just assuming that.
kind of made me think that someone in the house, either a son or something like that, was making all these buy and trading slave things, and they were just in the house, and he's so focused on what he's doing. He's like, oh, okay, this is here, this person's here, kind of thing.
Yep. A couple things that he was into that you remember was he was into the occult a little bit. He was into ancient civilizations. He was a connoisseur of fine wines, and he was also a kind of a hermit type. He did have family, but they weren't living in Schultz, and he really didn't have friends per se. His friends were the people that helped him function from day to day, so that he can continue his research. He did tinker with weird stuff, and he had like a little laboratory, and yeah, he was just kind of a scientist type that had anthropology, geology, and he had everything under his belt. He was kind of a little bit of everything. Might even have been like some sort of bard or something. But he was definitely an interesting individual, and he left you a legacy of utter curiosity on top of your natural curiosity. So it
Got
just
it.
fed right into your instincts.
Now, you had mentioned that also in my backstory, you said, or in my personality, that my personality, smartass, talkative, curious, sly, secretive, nosy,
Hmm.
almost bardic in nature, a lore hound. What does that mean?
Um,
Like, I
it's
can't picture that.
like she kind of gets her hands into everything that she can, especially if it has to do in the pursuit of knowledge. So she kind of looks for ancient books, and she's really not into coin or treasure per se, although she does like shiny things. Um, but she's more into knowledge. So she feels that knowledge is more important than anything that money can bring you. She knows that money is what sold her into slavery, and she knows that money is what kind of makes the world go around, but not her world. Like, she doesn't want to be a slave to the dollar. She wants to basically operate outside of those parameters. So she's kind of a naturalist when it comes to currency and money and stuff. She would rather trade and barter. Um, she believes that a good deed is for a good deed. If someone needs you to do something, then you should probably do something for you. That kind of thing. It isn't like, give me 10,000, 10,000 gold, and money doesn't do anything. You can't eat it. It's hard to spend it unless you go to the main cities. And sometimes even there, the money doesn't really buy you anything. It's really like the root of all evil as far as you're concerned.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep. And you can play off that and change that any way you like, but that's just kind of how I envisioned her initially. As she thinks of money as kind of dirty. It's not good. It's kind of bad.
Used for nefarious ends.
Kind of a necessary evil, in other words. Um, Katcha, I think that she before she found herself with the Triple Threat 3, which, by the way, is just a name I came up for a trio. You guys can change that, but your symbol is the 3 cat claws, and it is something that you guys decided to use as a moniker for your little adventuring group. You guys specialize in taking people out into the woods or out into the jungles and exploring. You guys would support like an expedition, or in this case, lately you guys are finding missing persons. You're also keen to going out and destroying or interfering with evil or nefarious cults, or you know evil wizards and things like that. You guys are not opposed to taking care of that kind of stuff. Katcha is kind of quiet and brooding. She does speak, but only if she thinks it's necessary. She does. I know.
Are you ready for that, Shell?
Yeah, It's gonna be tough, but she'll talk if she
Yeah.
thinks you guys are in danger or doing something
Shell's good though.
stupid.
She wants. She likes getting all the information. That's why I like playing with her. Just like,
Uh
okay,
huh.
okay, keep going.
Yeah, it's okay though. Um, she's more like she likes to hunt. She'll scout around. She's basically the point of your trio. Um, she does a lot of the heavy lifting, but she doesn't really fight toe to toe. None of you really do. Um, I think you guys would be more scrappy. I don't think you would resort to hand combat unless you had to. And I think you guys are more, as a group, I think you guys would play off each other's strengths and weaknesses and try not to directly confront something, especially if it's very powerful and dangerous. But
That's true, but I would suggest, no, not suggest, but I would think that Felony would be more into hand-to-hand more because she can use her cunning action to escape. She could
yeah,
attack and then escape
right,
and be safe that way.
right. But she's more one-on-one. Like, I don't see her jumping into 3 people. I could see her going like a duel with somebody, but not a going into an army of people. It's not a warrior.
The game we played the last on whatever it was the other day,
Saturday.
um, Saturday. When you guys got in the boat, I was really thinking whether or not she would actually get in the boat or just hide and jump out at whatever was coming. So I felt like that was more her character, but I figured we had a plan to get in the boat, that's why she got in the boat.
I probably wasn't thinking of it. I was probably thinking that this is the way that we're going to get to our destination and this is just what we're going to do. But,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the
It was the
boat
right
thing was.
choice.
Go ahead.
I said I think it was the right choice, and I hate boats at this point. Forever.
I think we all are very um, traumatized by that incident. But the boat is gone down the stream,
Yeah,
burning. Yeah, no, it's gone.
he almost kicked a
Yeah,
hole in her.
Khatri. Didn't Khatri set it on fire?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No. Tried to, but it got me, remember? And that's why I pushed her in the water.
Oh yeah.
She it's her firebolt hit me and I got my fur is burned. See this
Oh my
mark
god.
here? This is where my fur is burned.
Oh
And then
my
it killed
god.
her. But it's only fitting that we all ended up on our butts and we did nothing, you know. The whole episode was just craziness. We couldn't get any rules. But that said, the Juan T didn't get a lot of good rolls either, so it was just bad rolls all the.
Yeah, one of your guys' arch nemesises are the Yuan themselves. They are a really nasty presence in the jungle, constantly running into them, and it's becoming more and more often. So for some reason, they are not staying in their own region. They're kind of branching out more. That's been one of the most recent developments in your guys' environment, is that those guys keep showing up all over. And they're up to no good. And you would like to eventually figure out, when you're not doing other things, what these guys are up to.
I thought that we decided that they were looking for slaves.
Right. That is one thing they are doing, is branching out of their normal area and taking in slaves. And there's probably only a few reasons they do that. And I dare not mention those on the stream. At
So
least not now.
I picked my deity as the Cat Lord
Mm-hmm.
because that's like the generic, I guess, thing
Okay.
for the tabaxi race. Also,
Okay.
aren't tabaxi tall? I thought they were kind of tall and slender.
Yeah, you can change their dimensions.
Okay, because you got me as 5'1", and that's a little midget. For a tabaxi that's supposed to be tall, it's midget.
Well, maybe it's supposed to be 4'11". Or 5'11".
Oh, maybe.
4'11" would be smaller.
If I'm 5'11", 110, then I am super skinny.
You're lanky. They'll just change it to what you think makes sense. And this is what we're
You're like
doing.
the strongest one of us.
Yeah, you can go to about, 150 and go up to like 5'11".
5'11", 150 sounds right. That's
Felony is 5'10". Khatri is 5'4". She could be 5'7", or, I just put something there. You guys can put whatever you want. I'm not going to hold that against you. I mean, that's kind of how you would describe yourselves, I guess.
So when I was rolling my personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and I decided not to take like what the random roll is, and I looked over what I've got, and basically it kind of wove a story that fits in with the narrative that we have.
Yeah, I like that.
Personality trait is, oh, you looked at my stuff already?
Yeah, I'm looking. I got all your guys' note pages, and I'm reading all the stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got personality traits. I watch over my friends as if they were a litter of newborn kittens. It did say pups, but I changed it to kittens because that fits me better.
Mm-hmm.
Ideals, I've got nature. The natural world is more important than all the constructs of civilization, which fits me perfectly because I don't like well, they don't mean constructs like the construct.
Right, but just stuff created by society.
Yeah, and we're into this natural world and nature and stuff, and plus I'm neutral good, and that's a neutral statement, so that fit.
Yeah.
And bonds, I am the last of my tribe, and it's up to me to ensure their names are enter legend.
That's
and
a good
that
idea.
Is true because
yes.
my whole tribe, my whole pride was killed by that evil wizard.
Yep.
And flaws, I picked for flaws. I am too enamored of ale, wine, and other intoxicants because I thought it would be fun to play a drunk cat.
All right, cool. So you kind of drown your fears in alcohol.
Yeah, because I do have that PTSD, so yeah, I'm going to have to find something to bring me back to, like, normal.
Well, you're in luck because Felony is a fine connoisseur of wine a little bit. She doesn't drink a lot, but she loves to taste them. Sometimes she tastes too many.
But I can hold my liquor.
Yeah, I don't see you being a
5,
lush.
10, 130, yeah.
I just think you would try too many in one day. Like, instead of just drinking a whole glass, she would open every bottle of wine she could just to taste it.
And I'll make sure that they don't go stale.
I don't think Khatri would drink too much. Maybe on a rare occasion.
Yeah, let's hear about your character, Khatri.
Well, we haven't fully developed her, but she's kind of I wouldn't say she's a priss, but she's kind of the pretty girl one, the more feminine. And she's also, I don't know, she just seems more natural and almost enviable. But she doesn't carry herself that way. She's just naturally beautiful, just the way her traits are.
Erelon played her so hilarious, though.
Yeah. It was like, Who was that said that they had to change every time they had a chance?
Oh,
Was that
change their
Khatri?
clothes.
Yeah,
That
was
might
that
have been.
Khatri?
It was one of the options in the quirks. So
Oh.
where do those quirks go? Do they go on our notes page or do they
Yeah.
go on our...
Put them in your
Okay,
notes under your quirks.
okay.
Just put quirks and then put your little thing in there. And you can make up your own stuff too. You don't have to go by those. Because some of those won't fit no matter what. So those are just guidelines to kind of help you along with developing your character.
I
You,
think my tail thing that fit perfectly. That must be in the race thing because I was
yeah.
looking in the other one was in our
Your tail always betrays your inner thoughts.
it does indeed.
Hers does too. Khatri. So that's great. Felony will look at both of you and say, "What are you guys thinking about?" Because your tails will be twitching. I know. You guys want to go to the next area, don't you?
She'll be purring away.
Katri, I want to hear about your character. Tell me, tell me.
She's probably still absorbing it.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
So Khatri was a hermit. Would you say she was more alone than kind of isolated with a group of people?
Yeah. She was more of a loner for most of her life because of her powers. I think when she was young, she was with a bunch of people, and then because she was sick, it's like she had radiation poison or something like that. But what were you gonna say?
I was thinking that you have in here that the Pride was separated by a natural catastrophic event.
Mm-hmm.
What if that was the asteroid landing?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think so.
And then she was ill for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Possibly more than just her. She just survived.
Yeah, I'm thinking they died off because of the illness. She just happened to be able to snap out of it or grow. It may have been because of at the point where she was poisoned, maybe, or whatever it is. She was exposed though to whatever that energy was, or that magic that came from that, and it slowly kind of evolved. It kind of grew with her. So instead of her immune system fighting it, it kind of went with it, and she kind of grew into it. So it
As a side effect of being alone so long, I actually have a personality trait that I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations. And I figured, kind of sort of as a side effect of this power that's grown in her, her ideal would be basically self knowledge. If you know yourself, there's nothing left to know. and it would be kind of a side effect of having to get a control on her power.
Yeah, I would think so. She's trying to get to know who she is now because she probably realizes that she's not the same. And she'd like to know what happened to her. She probably talked to different medicine men and spiritual leaders and witch doctors and everything else, and still looking for an answer. I think when you met these two, it was out of desperation or necessity, and perhaps you had either been, I wouldn't say captured, but maybe you were in a bad situation and the other two helped you, and you kind of tagged along with them, and they didn't complain about your magical power. So you're probably just happy to have two individuals that'll put up with you. I mean your ability.
I want to say that Felony is insatiably curious, and she's very typical to Baxi, tends to flip from one thing to another. So the fact that you have this wild magic, she loves that. She's very intrigued by it because it's chaotic and constantly changing. So I think that she really likes that about Khatri.
I'm going to say that Katcha was, because she was the last of her pride, and she probably roamed around a lot when after everybody was killed, and she never saw any other tabaxis until she met these guys. So that's why she feels this kinship, not only as a race, but just, I don't know, because there is no other people in her tribe. So I think she would really latch on to others when she found them.
That makes sense. And what would it be for you, Felony?
Well,
Why
I'm
would you
gonna.
want to travel with these two other than curiosity?
I think her curiosity might actually border a little bit on adrenaline junkie.
Ah,
And this whole thing is just very cool, and it's, you know, doing different things, moving around, but you still have a home with these two. So that would kind of equate to what she went through as growing up with this patron who took her on various places. It was always changing, it was always new, something more to learn and figure out. Now she's solving mysteries with these two gals that she likes. I mean, why wouldn't she do that? It's awesome.
that's true. I was thinking that you guys have like a tree house or something like that.
I get the top.
What do you guys think?
I like that because we're good climbers. So yeah, we would want to be. I can't see us like down on the forest floor or something, jungle floor. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Up in the tree kind of seems more home, I guess you would say.
So you guys don't really care for the Yuan Ti. They're kind of like for at the moment or over the last year or so, they have been your biggest headache in the jungle, other than natural things. Um, there was a rumor of a snake cult in Port Nyanzaru, Felony, when you left.
Okay.
I mean, you haven't fully left there, but you haven't been back in like a year. But when you left, there was something going on with that. There was a big thing going on with the snake cult. People were coming up missing, and also your mentor had mentioned that the Yuan Ti have grown restless, and that they're trying to rebuild their empire because it's kind of fading. That's the only thing you know that might relate to some of the issues you're having. And the other two have just seen them so much that you've had to fight with them and, avoid them and all kinds of stuff. They really don't take tabaxi as slaves. If they do, it's only to torture them or to kill them. They don't take them in as slaves normally.
I would think that with Felony's background of being a slave, that she would be exceptionally against the Wanti, not just because we don't like the race, but because of that.
Yeah. One of her what's that called? Not her bond, the other one. The one that does your alignment. Your ideal, freedom, chains are meant to be broken.
Yeah.
I like that.
Another thing that they've done is they've systematically started to penetrate all of the civilizations that are growing up along the coast, on the east coast of the peninsula. They're also buying, trading, and selling some of their stuff, which isn't good. They're known to deal in poisons, and they also have, like the snake cult thing. They usually take slaves to breed, B, to experiment, and C, to use as manual labor. And they normally take humanoids like humans, and they'll take dwarves occasionally and other humans, but they normally grab humans for some reason. They don't normally grab the other races. They'll take elves and probably anything like half elves, but they won't normally take some of the other races. They'll usually just kill them or leave them be. So they're not a very friendly lot. So I'm going to open up the notepad within Fantasy Grounds. And you guys have, I see that you guys have already started your own note. So I'm going to do one, and then I'll make it a shared one. So if you guys want to add anything for me as a group, and then I'll work on it. Triple Threat 3. I can just see you guys handing out cards. We do investigations, rescues, all kinds of stuff. I guess you'd call it extractions, investigation, and guidance service. I don't know, what would you call that?
You mean like being a guide to people?
Mm-hmm.
Show them around? Yeah.
Yep.
Guide.
Tour guides. That's it.
Hey, I used to be a travel agent. Yeah.
We're going to take you to the fiery peaks. They're very beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, we could do security. I used to work security for an internet company. Maybe I'll channel that back in the day before I had.
Internet security.
No, I was the physical security for the building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I didn't know nothing about internet.
So I'm thinking of some other alternative people to come into the games once in a while, especially if one of you can't play. I think what I'm going to do is either sub one of you out with another player and just have you hiding or holding up at the treehouse, and that's where the messages are left for you guys. You probably have some sort of messenger that leaves you guys a message. And I was thinking it was an annoying Eric Cochran person that you guys do not like. You don't hate him, but you don't like him. He's like a crow, like a raven. And he goes, "Arr!" When he shows it. He's real annoying. And
Sure, it's not an air cockroach, but actually a kangaroo.
it could be. It's some
I
kind
want
of
I
bird.
want to play with it.
That
Yeah,
would be annoying.
he's some kind of bird. And he brings you guys, he's a messenger. And he brings you guys your jobs. Like you guys have contracted him to go back and forth from the major cities on the east side of the peninsula so you guys can get work. And he comes by once in a while and leaves a message, and if you guys are there, he annoys the hell out of you. You guys
Drop it
said you
out.
were gonna pay me.
Toss him some birds.
How about we don't eat you, pigeon?
Yeah. And then there's another tabaxi that I'm working on that I don't have his full backstory, but he shows up every now and again. And I think he'd be a great drop-in character, but he is not your favorite person. He is everything a tabaxi should not be. The only guys that you guys would tolerate would be him occasionally. He's kind of a nuisance, and in some ways, he kind of makes your guys' skin crawl. He's just not a very good person. Or he's not a good tabaxi. Not a model citizen, let's put it that way. He shows up every now and then. And I'm going to make a turtle guy. I'm not sure how he comes in, but I'm going to have him ready to go. So if we ever get drop-in players, they can choose from maybe a half a dozen different drop-in players. And these would be people you associate with, but you don't necessarily travel with them. You don't live with them. They're not roommates.
Darn, I see me missing a whole bunch of episodes and you having a whole bunch of people dropping in, and I'm sitting in the tree.
Someone's got to hold down the fort. But then there might be occasions where that goes the other way around. Maybe Jaded won't be able to play very often, so they'll have to get someone else to drop in. We might even do a couple solo adventures.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, just you and a DM, and maybe an NPC or just a guest player. And we could work on some of your personal goals or your backstory when those happen so that it doesn't always detract from the main thread. So that way you don't advance the storyline without the others too much.
Yeah, mine would have to be on the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Well, I have a game every other Wednesday, and I have a Friday night.
Okay.
The good thing is, you and Jade both have that same game on Wednesday, so that's easy to remember.
Yes.
Cool.
I have a tabaxi question.
Sure.
The climb, the climb 20 feet as a special move.
Yep.
Now, if I were a human and I wanted to make a climb, I would make an athletics check, and
Yep.
then I would make it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a tabaxi, because I can climb 20 feet, does that mean that's like a move. I can go ahead and climb 20 feet
Yep.
without necessarily making an athletics check. Okay.
Yep. And you
Probably.
can move further because, or it's 5 feet further because most humans can only move half their movement rate, especially vertically.
I was gonna say to compare it to, excuse me, compare it to like a CL for one of those creatures with the swim speed would be that they get the swim, the swim speed, and we get the climb speed, right? Wouldn't it be similar?
Right. Well, Katcha climbed a tree the
Hmm.
last time we played, and then you had her roll an athletics check, and so I
Oh,
made a
that's
note
right.
in my mind to ask about that.
Yeah, you
Unless it
probably
was like
shouldn't have.
extra high or
But I wanted just to see how the characters work too.
cool.
So you don't have to do that every time you climb. That when you do, it would be like you jumping from branch to branch or something like that. And then I'd probably just give you guys advantage like right off the get-go or something like that. Depending on the conditions though.
I need to bring my pan flute into some kind of a storyline too, because I have this musical instrument, and
Yeah.
maybe play some music while we're traveling sometime.
Yeah, maybe while you're camping you'll break that out and it's maybe one of the last things you remember of your pride is a traditional song that you remembered from your early youth, and you probably play that occasionally when the time is right, when you're not worried about people stalking in on your camp.
True. We gonna do some moving on the map here, or is it just gonna be a talk session?
A little both. I wanted to know how you guys are feeling about your characters so far.
I love her.
You love her? What is?
She's fun.
Okay. Khatri's gonna have to get a taste of how her character works above and beyond roleplay. So I have a little scenario for you guys to participate in if you want, and it'll basically be a combat thing. What I'm looking for is that chemistry again, and whether it be getting along or not, I would like the chemistry to be there as people. But as tabaxis, it's kind of free for all for that.
That's cool that all three of us know each other and have played together.
Yeah, it helps. You guys will get to know play style and also the strengths and weaknesses of the characters. So that's what you're looking for. So when you're playing, like you're not just looking for what you can do, you're trying to see what your allies can do and how you can either help them or advise them or perhaps support them. So that's the main thing is this teamwork element. Without that, you guys won't survive too long. It'll be tough. So, are you guys ready for a little bit of action here or what?
Katcha wants some action.
Action?
Action.
I'm down.
Okay.
Why
Khatri?
not?
Okay. Are you happy with your spell so far?
That's something that I'll have to take a better look at later. For now, it's fine.
Okay. I did fix that thing you noticed.
Um, well, one of the things.
Yeah.
I'm
What's the
still
other?
not sure why. I'm still not sure why she has what's it, 11 or 12 spells instead of 8.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So I figure I'll take a better look at it now that I'm off for the next week.
Okay.
I have time to.
No problem. At least you can cast a 4th level spell slot.
That is true.
Yep.
Can I ask this question because I have been wanting to answer this forever.
What's that?
How do you cast a spell like a first level spell at a second level for third level? Like
Okay.
do you just theater the mind, or does that get coded?
It can be coded depending on what it is. Usually it results in more damage. So, or more healing. So what you're going to end up doing is tell your DM you want to cast at second level, and you need to read the description of the spell before you announce that. And if you feel that you want to add more juice to it, you'll use a second level slot. And normally what you can do to make it easier, instead of coding it, is just when you're dragging the dice, you can right click on it, it'll add the additional dice to it. Whether it be healing or damage.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So that is the deal.
There are a couple of them that won't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chaos Bolt, the damage is done specially,
Mm-hmm.
but most of them, yeah, you can just right click when you're dragging the damage or heal.
Yep. Also, Katcha, you have bracers of defense, which are already active.
You mean Khatri?
Or Khatri, excuse me.
Which is good.
Yes. Let's see. And you have... I thought you had a kind of a magic thing. Oh, that is your magic thing. You do have 2 potions of healing.
A couple of different options for weapons as well.
Yes. You have your claw attack, a couple daggers, quarter staff, and a sling. It's pretty good.
I noticed that my whip is barbed. Wow.
Yeah. It don't feel good.
So the bolus you said is a ranged weapon.
Yep.
But I only have one of them?
Yeah, you throw it, you wind it up and throw it, and it has, if it hits, it will entangle the target and they have to break free.
Yeah, I can see that, you know, if they do break free, I'm going to be going through bolus like crazy.
Yeah, that might be a thing. Also, you have 2 nets.
I might want to buy some more.
Right. You have 2 nets, and those can get ripped. So all of you have potential to lose a weapon, but yours seems to be the highest potential.
I only have one.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only have one spear.
Yeah. But look at all the other stuff you're carrying. I mean, you have
I know.
nets and spears. Huh?
I said I'm only a cat. I can't carry everything.
Yeah. And a lot of your stuff's fairly light. But your main weapon is probably the spear up close. And then you have the bow as your main weapon.
Yeah, my longbow is archery.
But that spear is very versatile because you can use it two-handed, you can throw it, and you can jab with it. So it's a really good universal weapon.
Do I have a two-handed? I don't think it's coded as two-handed.
You can.
I've got it thrown or.
Yeah, you can make it if later on if you want, or while you're waiting.
Okay, but okay, just one question. I know how to make the spear. I would duplicate the damage, but instead of a 1d6, it would be a 1d8.
Correct.
Correct. If it's
Yep.
two-handed.
Yep.
And
Everything else would be the same.
Do I have a shield? I don't have a
No,
shield. Right?
no shield.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about drop shield or anything.
No.
Cool. Okay, I'll make that while we're waiting.
Okay. So basically, Khatri, what happened last week was that they were investigating for a village. They stopped by a village and they had a small child come up missing. And they were picking berries. And while they were deciding how they were going to pursue finding this child, they were attacked by a hunting party of Wanti. when they investigated the area after the Yuan-ti passed away, or they killed them, basically defeated them, they found a trail of berries. Apparently, when they took the child must have had the basket on him for a short time. So it kind of pulled and pushed you guys to this area that you're basically, you're at this like end of this waterway, and it's kind of a stagnant area where the river flows off, and this stuff kind of flows into the river slowly. It's real muddy and mucky, and it kind of stinks. Kind of has a kind of a putrid smell. Is very warm and stagnant. Lots of mosquitoes and tons of looks like animals come here to drink water. And there is an old set of dinosaur tracks. It looks like the dinosaur hasn't been here in many, many moons, but nonetheless, it doesn't look like a completely up and up area. It doesn't look safe. The tree that you guys are standing next to would provide you shade and cover from up above. And the riverbanks are very, very muddy and slick. So all of the darker shading that's around the edge is kind of sloped, like 5 or 10 feet. It's not sloped very steeply, but it's pretty close to 45 degrees, I guess. Maybe a little less than that. And there are a few rocks and stones that kind of pop up every now and again. And you guys see tracks around the mud that are fairly fresh, and they're humanoid in nature, and they look like they came from this direction. So in other words, they're probably those Yuan-ti. So, LadyShel, can you do a perception check followed by a potential survival check?
Okay. Well, I was working on my spear and I see a word here that I don't know what the heck it means. I don't know if it was a typo. It
But
says under properties, it says not tutorial. I don't know what not tutorial is.
that doesn't make
Properties,
sense.
not tutorial, comma, throne range, 2060, versatile.
It's supposed to be versatile.
Yeah, but the first word says not tutorial.
Who
I don't know
knows?
if it's missing a letter. Should I just delete that? And
Yeah.
It should start with throne?
Yes.
Okay. And
But
we
it
wanted...
versatile
what?
needs to be there as well.
Yeah, it does have versatile here.
Okay.
I just didn't know what that word was.
Okay.
What was the check that you wanted me to do? Nature?
Okay, so I need you to... I'm going to have you guys move your tokens in a minute.
Okay.
So, wherever you want to check, I would like you to trace your path and then do your perception in the dice tower, please. So you're basically investigating these older tracks. They've been dried a little bit in the sun, but they're still fairly fresh.
Okay, and you said that now, is it like down low? I use this control and it's going to always give me a circle.
Yeah, it goes out to that jetty.
Here and here, whoa, and here, all the dark things. So I can go in any of these places to investigate?
Yeah, the tracks lead to that kind of that peninsula-looking thing, the jetty that sticks out.
So like, wait, I can only go 30 feet, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go there.
Okay.
And then I'll do my perception.
Okay. So, on your first cursory glance, you notice that several wild animals have come and gone from the edge of this waterway to get water. You do see a bone of like some sort of mammal, bleached out and half submerged in the mud. And then you also see tracks that remind you of the ones that you had been following here. And you see one berry at the very southern edge of the jetty. And as you look towards the berry, you notice this. Out in the middle of the water, stagnant.
Traumatized. No, no.
Yeah, it's that.
That
So
looks familiar.
it's not the
It has
same.
flame scorches on it.
No, it's smaller. And it looks like it's been out there for a while. It looks like it's taken in a little bit of water. And that the wood or whatever the material is has been partially rotting. So it might have come from the river or somebody uses it occasionally or something like that. But it's out in the middle of the water.
I'm going to point it out to my compatriots and say, look, it's a boat. Oh, it's a boat. But it's not our old boat. Thank God, because I don't want to ever see that again. This is a rowboat, and it's like sinking or something. I wonder why it's out there and why it's, getting, going underwater. I mean, I hope no one's inside that we can't see laying down.
Anybody got anything to say on that?
Do we need a boat? What do we need a boat for? We don't need a boat.
We don't need a boat, but it could be a clue. What if the
Especially
baby's
after
in
the
there?
last one.
Why do you think it's a clue?
Because
Do an investigation, Shell.
give us that. Okay. I was going to say the DM wouldn't get pointed out if it wasn't important. Investigation.
Katcha. Okay, Katcha, you notice that there is an occasional smashed berry that leads to the very edge of where that jetty is. And you're wondering if that boat had been used along the shore or not. But whatever it is, it's really odd that it drifted out there.
Well, not so odd if somebody didn't tie it up right. I will make a point to mention that there are smashed berries leading out to the edge of the water here, and obviously somebody that had berries was heading out that way, and it's kind of suspicious, and I think we probably need... How far out in the water is it from here? I mean, it's not like...
Well, why don't you target it as if you're going to shoot it?
Okay. Oh, it's a ways. Oh, controls. Oh, okay, so it's 60 feet from where I am, but I'm not on the edge.
Right, but it's roughly 40, 50 feet out.
Okay, 40 or 50 feet out. Am I able to throw a rope that far?
I don't think so.
Kind of like...
You could try.
I might be really good at it. I don't know.
You might be. So, what I
Tie
want...
a rope to an arrow, maybe?
Maybe.
I'm good at arrows.
Yeah.
Oh God, does this mean we need this boat? Oh God, we need to get another boat.
What if someone's in the boat and we can't see them? If it's that child, what if they're drowning in the water?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Should I target the boat with my longbow?
Yes. And if you tie the rope to it, it makes the arrow a little bit harder to shoot. So you're going to be at disadvantage to hit the target. Because you're basically tying a rope and it's messing with the aerodynamics.
It's gonna...
It'll sink.
Let's see if I can hit them. Probably
Wow.
not.
You did.
Really? Oh,
Nice
Yeah.
shot.
Oh, I
Katcha.
saw that red 9 in it.
Well, it dropped something, but you rolled high on both sides. What did it drop? It dropped a 15, you got a 9, but your bonus is so
Wow.
good that it
Yeah.
made up for it.
Even with a disadvantage.
Uh-huh. So the arrow goes flying out across the way, and it goes out over the water. And it just barely reaches it, and it just touches down, and it goes thunk. So it's stuck into the inside of the boat. You didn't hear anything scream or yell.
Yeah, good thing there wasn't something in there because I Can I pull the rope and kind of like try and pull the boat towards shore?
Sure.
Yeah, drag it over. Come on.
Are you gonna help
I'll
her?
try and reach for it.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
help her?
yeah, I can help her pull.
Okay.
What would you like?
So go ahead and drag the help action to LadyShel's character or to Katcha. And LadyShel, I want you to make a strength check in the dice tower,
Oh.
please. All right. So you're able to pull the boat very slowly. It feels pretty heavy between the two of you.
Got water in it, so.
Yeah, it feels waterlogged. And after, I don't know, let's see, 10, 20. After about 5 minutes, you're able to bring the boat closer to shore. So that's the boat right there.
It's growing.
So there you go.
Can I go down and like?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I'm gonna take out my rapier and head over there.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead and move where you want to move.
Is that really 30 feet, or is it counting something else? That doesn't seem like.
I don't want to go over the cliff.
Yeah, LadyShel, you went down.
Mud.
I was gonna say you went down the embankment, so you need to roll a dexterity check
Oh
in the
God.
dice tower, please.
Fall on my butt.
Yeah.
Check.
You barely make it to where you don't. You stick your claws out, and you barely make it to where you avoid going into the water. And you guys know that this type of water is not safe.
Yeah, stay out of the water.
It's kind of nasty. It's got all kinds of bacteria and stuff like that.
How far below us is she since she went down the embankment?
Like 5-10 feet. Not even, probably about 10 feet at the most. 5 feet.
Not to mention, imagine trying to get that water out of your fur.
Ugh. And the mud, too.
Alright, well, Felony will probably climb down there.
Okay.
And I'm looking in the boat.
So go ahead and make a athletics check.
Athletics?
For her.
Not investigation?
This is for...
I'm climbing down there with you.
She's trying to help you.
No, I'm too delicious. I want to see what's in it.
Oh my god. You slip and fall into the lake.
No!
So, move your token 10 feet forward. That's 5. There you go. So you're about waist deep, almost, in this mucky water. And now I need to have you make a strength check.
Can I help her pull her up?
Yeah, go ahead. So...
Oh, this water's gross.
Katcha pulls her, sends her hands out towards you. So strength check. Okay.
Do you need to do one too? No, mine just gets the help.
You almost lost your boots, but go ahead and move back 5 feet. You've made it, but you've disturbed the water, so it was kind of clear, but now it's a cloud of muddy water because you moved. And you also disturbed the bottom of the mud, and you were stuck in about a foot of mud. And then you just barely kind of pulled yourself out with Katcha's help.
Thanks.
Khatri, you're just standing there looking pretty.
Okay, let's investigate the boat.
Okay. So go ahead and roll an investigation, LadyShel.
What's your investigation, Shell?
My investigation's +3.
I got +8.
Yeah, I think you should investigate.
So let me take a look. Okay, so you look in the boat, and from what you can tell, the bottom of the boat has a slow leak in it. There is about 2 inches of a slimy scum water in there. Whole bunch of moving larvae and stuff from mosquitoes and I don't know if you guys have seen pond water up close, but it's interesting. Um,
Oh yes.
it really stinks, and you guys do notice that there's a seat that you can sit on, a couple seats actually, and there is a rip in the clothing where the someone who had been
Clothing?
sitting, yeah, someone had been sitting on one of the planks, and they actually disturbed some of the slime that was on there. So someone had used this boat recently,
I'm
and
not getting in this boat.
there is
Is there
a
any?
berry in the
Oh,
boat.
I was just gonna ask.
Katcha, I'm not getting in this boat.
No, it's leaking. I wouldn't expect any of us to get in this boat. I don't suppose anybody has a mending spell.
Perhaps.
Do you think we could mend boats, or is that possible? I don't know if boats can be mended. Maybe they need dwarven skill or something.
Well,
It depends on how big this hole is.
yeah, this boat is not very big. The hole isn't really a hole. It's the seams are kind of old, and the water is kind of just saturating the boat. So it's kind of messing you guys up in that regard.
Well, whatever we do, if we're gonna do anything with this boat, we need to get it, dump the water out, and kind of get it more onto shore so that it doesn't continue to take on.
Can you fix it, Khatri?
I'd have to take a closer look.
Want help?
We'll bring it closer.
Getting down here? Come on.
Maybe she could stay up there. You could throw her the rope, and you guys could shove it up there, and she could kind of come along, I guess is what you would call that.
You want us to pull this boat up 10 feet up this embankment so you don't have to come down here?
We need to dump the water out first, though, or because it's just making it heavy.
Yeah, make a combined strength check. If you guys, you can do it in the open. If you guys roll above 20 between the two of you, you're able to flip the boat over, and yeah, you do it.
We beat it by one.
High
So
five.
you guys dump it over, and you hear this splosh, and there's all this nasty green, slimy, brown water kind of all around where you guys are at. And the activity in the water is amazing. The moment you stepped in that water, you noticed that there was leeches and frogs trying to, swim past your legs when you were in the water. But thank God for your fur. Your fur kind of protects you from a lot of that. So, you
I'm
got
kind of enjoying this. It's kind of fun.
you got muddy legs all the way up to your knees, pretty much. You almost lost your boots. It made that sucking sound when you pulled your boot up out of the mud.
Did my boots get messed up too?
Just dirty. They're not, they're not messy.
Because I didn't go as deep into the water.
So I would like you guys both to make an athletics check, but I would like Khatri to add the help action to both of you. So both of you are gonna heave ho the boat. Okay,
We have to wait for
Let's
the-
go.
oh,
so
there-
go ahead and do your athletics check
oh,
in the dice tower. Nice. So with your combined efforts, you guys have no problem bringing the boat back up.
Teamwork.
That
This
was
is great.
awesome.
Exposure
here,
to the
both.
elements builds character.
So now the boat is kind of halfway up the embankment, and it's tipped upside down. Khatri, you can get a good look at it without falling down the embankment.
I'm just moving out of the way.
How bad of shape does this boat look? I know it looks old.
First I want you to make a perception check.
In the tower?
Yes, please. All right. Yes, your assessment is pretty good. You can tell this boat is probably older than 5 years, and it was kind of crudely made. Not a whole lot of identifying marks, so you've never seen this type of craftsmanship. But from what you can tell, the boards or whatever it is that keeps the boat afloat has some natural properties that allow it to split. That's from being exposed to the sun on one side and the water on the other. So it's been sitting in that pond for quite some time. But it has been used recently, and you do see a couple of the smashed red berries on the ground. So someone had used this boat to cross from one point to here. And for some reason it was drifting out in the pond.
You think someone's trying to leave us a trail?
It's a good question. The oars look like they're in pretty bad shape. They're still usable, but they look kind of rotted and worm-ridden. So they have, like, I don't know, they're some kind of maggots or larva or something that's burrowed into the wood.
That's alright. Katcha here is great at oar building.
So it has a lot to do with the exposure it's had to the elements. So it wasn't taken care of. It probably was abandoned. You're thinking that it may have just been here on accident. There's really no reason for people to fish here. Most of the fish that you would pull out of this water wouldn't be very good for you anyways.
Is there anything across the water, like on the other side, that would make us think we would need to use it?
Not exactly. If you leave this area, what happens is over to your, well, you need to make a survival or a nature check.
Who's good at nature? Cause it tain't
Me, I'm good at nature.
you go,
Well,
girl.
plus
Teamwork.
3.
That's better than mine.
Okay. So upon examining the area, it looks like there's a seasonal creek that runs into this area. Right now it's kind of the dry season, even though it's pretty damp and muddy here. And it looks like the water probably goes all the way up where the embankment is. And that this water hole is kind of drying out a bit. But if you can potentially walk around this watering hole, but it's pretty big. So this is just 1/4 of the size of the pond. And where I have the arrow pointed is kind of where you assess that at least one of the seasonal creeks goes through there. So when there's heavy rains, it ends up draining outside of this area. And then it fills this pond up, and then the pond leaks over into the river nearby.
How far, over here? Wait a minute, I'm gonna take my hand off so it doesn't make it, those cliffs over there. How high are they above the water line?
Oh.
Or is that not a cliff? It looks like a cliff.
It's kind of a steeper angle. It's about 15 feet. So if you walk over that way, it's a slight incline.
Yeah, I think we should go over there and investigate.
On the right-hand side, it starts heading more to the jungle and into the river.
What did we find out with for the boat?
What's that?
I said, what did we find out about the boat? I was trying to get Erelon to do a guest spot, and he's like, I'm only going to do it if I could be a drunken.
Um,
He's being fussy. I told him my voluntold him he's going to play whatever I tell him to play. Because I'm a demanding sister.
um,
I'm skirting around the embankment.
so Khatri, upon your investigation, you're looking and examining on how you might best repair it.
Oh,
Okay. You notice that where they tipped the boat over, there is a small little statuette-looking thing. I will point to it. It's basically on the other side of the boat, right on the edge of the water.
Oh, the little green dot?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see it from where I am.
No.
Unless Khatri lets us know.
Khatri can kind of see it, because she's really looking at the boat carefully and looking around, and she doesn't notice it right away, but she catches it out of the corner of her eye. It's kind of got a dull color, so it contrasts against the brownish mud color.
I definitely pointed out to the others.
Okay. You can't really tell exactly what it is, but you can tell it's like a little figurine or a statue or something. And it isn't very big. I mean, you barely noticed it. If you didn't have such good eyesight, it probably would have just been ignored. But it's potential that, when they dumped the boat over, it fell out.
You find something?
I don't know.
Well, you called me over here.
You
Where is
would
it? I don't see it.
that move. I was trying to move back. Hey, don't take me over the water.
Oh.
My body
Okay,
lies
well,
over the ocean.
I guess I'll climb down there to get it.
Okay, so you're going to have to move about 10 feet to get it, and 10 feet back. So you're going to have to make 2 checks. The first check you're going to make is athletics to go down and without slipping to have control.
Okay.
So roll that in the dice tower. Okay, you go down there just fine with your claws. And now you are fetching the little thing. Now, as you reach down to look at it, it looks like a... Make a perception check, please.
Whoops, hold on, sorry.
It looks like a Wanty snake. It's like a chess piece, about the size of a chess piece. And it has a curled snake form on it. It has a little base to it. It's kind of a dark blackish color, kind of a green tint to it. And it looks like it was molded out of stone. It's really strange looking.
It's a stone chess piece in the form of a snake. And then I'm gonna climb back up there and show it to you.
Are you going to grab it?
Well, heck yeah.
Okay. So you grab this chess piece thing, and you bring it up. Probably, I don't know, show Khatri and Katcha.
Wow.
Katcha?
Absolutely.
You want me to do some kind of check? I was thinking maybe the tree could do some kind of arcana check.
Yeah. You're kind of
Can I
low,
hide
Shell. Like your volume.
Gee, hey, I thought it fixed my volume.
Okay.
Did it unfix it?
Yeah, it's fixed now. All right, Khatri, you want to do a Arcana check on it? Okay. Upon closer examination, You do notice some strange runes on the bottom of the base.
Ooh, under history check.
You're like, let me see it, let me see it. As soon as she...
Well, I saw those runes. I'm like, oh.
You have seen this language before. And I will type the translation. You don't know exactly what it means, but you can pronounce it, kind of.
Okay. Guys, I have seen these runes before.
Is something? Oh,
And that's what it
hey,
says.
I understand that language too.
Okay. So both of you look at it and go, hey, those look really interesting.
It says the elements of the earth. It looks like it's missing something though. Maybe there's another piece or something to continue the sentence, because that sounds like only a partial sentence.
Okay. So you guys are both, you guys read the inscription, right?
Mine's not translated, but I heard what she said.
Okay. So upon that, Khatri, you notice that you feel a magical sensation come from the little statue thing. A tingling force of energy, a vibration.
I don't know what this is, but it's magical.
And as you say that, roll initiative, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Being attacked by the robot?
Yeah.
Bye-bye, rowboat. Uh-oh.
Ah, kick it back.
Okay,
Ooh.
so
I'm
within a
supposed to
moment,
attack.
of basically having this thing kick off, these strange mounds of dirt form up out of the mud, and they start taking form. And they're kind of these various looking Earth-like creatures.
I have a question. A
Yes.
golem is a construct, isn't it?
Yes, I think.
So I would hate it.
Yep.
Grrr. Wow. Tail flip.
So, we're gonna take a 2-5. Let's do a 5 after break.
Okay, that sounds
Everyone go potty or whatever you got to do. 5 after.
Dole out meds to the children.
All right. Okay, everybody, all back?
I believe we are.
Okay.
Affirmative.
Are you here?
Yep.
Okay, good. So, immediately after the statuette activates, these strange Earth-like forms form up out of the mud, and they're kind of all about the area. You're not sure exactly what happened, but it doesn't look very beneficial to you guys. You're not sure what's going on, but nonetheless, Katcha wins the initiative in this turn, followed by Khatri.
Okay, I am not directly within his threat zone, so I'm going to back
Correct.
myself up 10 feet.
Okay,
And
that's
then I'm
15.
going to... Oh, well, okay, 15 feet. Just
Uh-huh.
movement. And I'm going to use my longbow
Okay.
for my first attack. And I'm attacking the mud method number 2, which is right here on this peninsula.
Okay.
I think I hit it.
Looks like the
Slightly.
arrow penetrated it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this big splat.
Okay, and second attack, same thing.
Okay.
Same.
Same-o. Okay, so you draw back your bow again, and it finds purchase.
Are methods constructs too, or are they just some kind of?
I don't know. We're not going to metagame it, so.
No, I wasn't metagaming it. I'm going because of my hatred of constructs. That's why I asked.
Is it constructs or is it something else?
Well, you said that I hated
says
constructs too.
Abominations and something else. Devils. Abominations are constructs of wizards, but they're not.
Things a monstrosity? Oh, they're not a monstrosity. Monstrosity is just a large thing, right?
Yeah, like a creature.
And would I get Colossus Slayer? Oh no, what was Colossus Slayer again? I forget. Was that the thing that I can escape early?
No, that's something else.
Colossus Slayer is the one. Oh, once it's damaged, I can do Colossus Slayer on this. I need to put the thing on it though.
Yeah.
The effect.
On you, not on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I've got it on me, and now I will do my damage. Can I get the D8 on the first one too? Because I didn't put the.
It
wasn't
hurt
wounded.
Yet.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so here's the. This should get both. There.
All right. Nice.
And
Youch.
do I have anything for bonus? I have the bonus. What is that? Oh, good lord. Oh, that's just a speedy thing. I got something called Zephyr. Now, does Hunter's Mark only last one turn? No, it lasts an hour. I'm gonna put Hunter's Mark on that same creature.
Okay.
Just for next turn.
Yep.
And that will end my turn.
Okay. Khatri. So you see 2 arrows fly in and hit that mephit that's close to you.
And of course, I'm pretty sure by just looking at them that they're not humanoids.
No. You figure them a mechanization of the magic item. Something to do with the magic item.
In that case, I am going to walk over to Katcha
Okay.
and brush my fingers against her quiver and cast flame arrows.
Okay. Erelon did that to her last time.
He did.
It was funny. He's like, "Why are they on fire?" It was hilarious. All right. Anything else?
Which has an effect for her and one for me. I don't think I really have anything I can do as a bonus,
Okay.
so I am going to step back a little bit further, kind of move around her for the rest, and then end my turn.
Okay. All right. So this method kind of starts plugging along and heading over in your guys' direction. And that's as far as he gets. Number 2 seems to be on its last legs because it's really not moving too well, but it moves up to engage Katcha. And it kind of throws out this weird, looks like a fist, like an appendage that just kind of comes out of this blob, and it pummels Katcha. There's this boink, and it missed. So Katcha, you
I
just
think
kind of
it-
sidestepped it.
It attempted to punch me.
Yeah, it attempted. Okay, so this bigger, uglier thing looks a lot bigger than the other ones. It starts coming over to your guys' location. And it winds up and it throws something in your direction, Khatri. But it missed. You were able to move aside. It threw like a blob at you, like a mud ball. Okay, Felony.
Alright, Felony's going to move here and target Mud Method number 2. And does this give me advantage?
Not in this case, no.
Alright, and I'm going to hit it with my Relentless Rapier.
Okay.
Why doesn't she have advantage? It has a ally within 5 feet.
She's not a halfling.
No, not half.
Okay.
Advantage is not the same as sneak attack.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Sneak
It
attack, I
says-
believe you should have.
Yeah, sneak attack I have. It says I can deal 1d6 if I have advantage on the attack. But it says you don't need advantage on the attack if another enemy is within 5 feet.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Alright, so
And-
I can apply sneak attack.
Are you sure it's only 1d6?
It's 3. It's coded right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so do I just apply sneak attack to myself?
You have to hit it first, and you did.
Which I did.
And yep, you just click the button.
And I am gonna hit it again. My Relentless Rapier lets me hit it again. So should I do the damage first?
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
No problem.
took it out. Wow.
Okay, and then after that, I am going to...
It turns to a pile of mud, by the way.
I just run it through. And then I'm going to move
Okay.
I'm moving. I'm still moving. That's 5.
Wow, you kicked its butt.
Can I move here? There you
Yep.
go. All right, and that will end my turn. I do have one question though.
Sure.
For one of my actions is Master of Tactics. Starting at 3rd level, you can use the help action as a bonus action. Additionally, when you use the help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature.
Yep.
So,
You're right there, so you can do it.
okay, so I can go ahead and help.
So
and
you're
I
next.
Can do it,
Go ahead.
but the target, as long as the target is within 30 feet of me, then it can work. It doesn't have to be just like.
Well, any of these two that are next to you guys should work.
Okay, so who do I help?
It's up to you, but if you look at the combat tracker, Katcha is your next one up.
Yeah, Katcha was probably the one who's going to strike out. So yeah, so apply the help action to her. And that will end my turn.
That's a nice feature.
Trying to learn this rogue thing.
And level
Okay.
7, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this thing slogs along the mud bank. And it tries to throw a mud ball at you, Felony, since you're in the way. Slings a mud ball and hits.
What is the range of those mud balls? That's like 50 feet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty far. It doesn't say.
Seems to me like there should be just like my bowl or my net or something. That was, my net has like 5/15, and that means 5 feet. It's good, and if it's over 5 feet but up to 15, it's a disadvantage. So I would think that guy got disadvantage, but I'm just being a rules lawyer.
Right.
We're just playing a little game of catch.
And the effect on it is blinded.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I'm blinded.
Yep, just for the rest of, till your next turn.
Okay.
Maybe we could use that drunken cleric.
We got this. We got this.
The drunken Aarakocra cleric. So that's its turn. Alright, this little one moves up and tries to punch Katcha. It's got little itty bitty fist. And it misses. The rowboat don't get to go.
It's on our side. We rescued it.
Yeah.
The little
it's on
rowboat
our
that
side.
could.
Yeah. Okay, so
Katcha.
yeah, I'm gonna use my spear since I'm in melee range. Two-handed spear. Wait a minute, is that the right one? No, there's the right one. 1d8 plus 2. On this guy that just tried to punch me.
Okay.
Method number 1.
Nice.
And
You just jab it.
yeah, this is how it's done.
Yeah, baby. Woo.
And I will do it again. We get 2 attacks. I love level 7. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
critical.
Okay, what's this now?
Wanders onto the scene. I critted someone and I get an extra monster. That does not seem
Hold on. It's a neutral monster.
Oh, neutral monster. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
guess who wanders onto the scene? An
Erelon?
alligator.
Alligator.
Yep.
Okay.
He comes up on the shore.
Alligator or crocodile? Wasn't it
Crocodile. Yeah, it's a big crocodile.
That's just Fred.
So, I am going to put him on the combat tracker. He's just a standard crocodile. But he's a neutral. He's a neutral.
We need to charm it.
He's not necessarily hostile to just you. So there he goes. Anything else?
I didn't do my damage yet.
Okay, do your damage.
Where did you put it? I don't even see. Do I have to
It
map
might not
around
be
that?
visible to us yet.
Oh, maybe. Okay. And I will do the damage to the weapon. Or wait, did I do the damage? No, I just did the critical. Okay, there's the damage. Okay. Heavy. Good. Yeah. Okay. And I will pass my turn.
All right. Okay, Khatri, you're going to have to wipe your eyes. And then...
I think is she blinded too?
not Khatri, but I mean Felony. Go ahead, Khatri.
Why is Felony wiping her eyes on Khatri's turn?
I'm
I'm
just
reminding
wiping my
her.
eyes. I got mud all in my face.
I think I'm going to try Firebolt with Twin Spell, which takes 1 sorcery point because it's just a cantrip,
Okay.
but lets me shoot 2 firebolts.
Nice.
And I am going to start with this method.
Nice one.
And because we're level 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes 2d10 fire damage.
Nice. Oh, took it out.
Turned it into terracotta.
Yeah, you turned it into a pot.
And with the second one, it's a range of 120 feet.
Nice.
Can I see Mud Golem 1? That's the one that's further away.
You can. But if you need to make an attack roll, Felony's kind of in your way, kind of.
That's okay. I will move just a bit.
Okay.
And then shoot the second firebolt.
Cool.
It's definitely within range.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I didn't expect that to hit.
Yeah.
Dang. Now, have you cast any higher level spells?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I cast flame arrows.
Okay.
That's a 3rd level.
Well, next time you cast, make sure you roll on your table.
Yes. I have, that one was just a cantrip, so it's fine.
Yeah. 1d20, you know how that goes.
Yep.
Alright, Mud Mephit number 3 comes sloshing over here. Comes in your direction. He sees Khatri and tries to blast you with his mud breath.
I've never heard of mud
A column of mud comes gouting from this Mephit. And you failed your save. So you are restrained. So you're engulfed in mud. And it restrains you for 1 round. Or for the rest of your turn, in other words.
That's not too bad.
So that's its turn. This mud golem. Let's see, where is he at? Right there. So he moves up. Ooh. He sees Felony and Khatri. So he moves right here. So if he rolls a 1 to 3, he goes after Felony. 5 to 6, he goes after the sorceress, Khatri. And goes after Khatri. So,
Of course. He sees me engulfed in the mud.
the mud golem makes 2 slam attacks against you. So this is going to hurt. So the first swing missed. I don't know how he missed, but he did. He missed both attacks with advantage. What a... Jeez. What a stick in the mud.
Gotcha.
He only had to hit a 15 too.
I know. I don't get it. Felony.
Okay, so I am going to say that he's right next to me. Either I can hear him or feel him, so I'm just going to try and stab at him.
Okay. So if you don't wipe your eyes, you're just going to wait for it to expire.
Oh, I'll wipe my eyes, but
Okay.
am I still blinded even if I wipe my eyes?
According to this, you are, but it'll expire
Yeah,
after
that's
this
fine.
round.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Got him. I hit Tater.
You took
He
your...
dropped a 20. Wow.
And then
Yeah.
my relentless rapier has me hit again.
Okay. It's relentless. Ooh.
Yes.
That was so badass. You know what I imagine you did is like you were standing there, it came up behind you, you felt its presence. So you jabbed it from behind, you did like a backwards jab with
like
your
a
rapier,
weird,
and then you turned around and stabbed it again.
That's right.
That's awesome.
You changed your thing from the tombstones to the blood splatter.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I like the blood splatter better than the tombstones.
Yep. I agree.
Okay, and rather than move because I'm blinded, I'll just take the...
That was the shizzle.
All of us are doing the shizzle. Nice.
Okay. This guy here is moving closer. And he comes to a stop. and he tries to throw a mud ball in your direction, and he is going
I'm
to
gonna
do that.
evade.
You're going to evade?
I'm not evade. I'm gonna dodge it if he's aiming for me.
Yeah, he is. So go ahead and put the dodge action on you. And what's the
were you
uncanny?
meaning the uncanny dodge is reduced damage. It doesn't give advantage or disadvantage or anything like that.
Right.
If he hits me, then I
Okay.
can use the dodge.
Cool.
Okay.
I
Thanks.
think
All right.
half.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
He missed, so you ain't got to worry about it.
I just shake my little body.
So all of a sudden, this big old crocodile shows up, and because of all the activity on shore. So I'm gonna roll if he, because you guys are kind of up the embankment. The other creatures are on the embankment. So if he rolls a 1 to 2, he'll attack you guys, the allies. If he rolls a 3 to 6, he'll attack one of the other creatures that are on the mud bank. So here goes nothing. Yeah. So he
Go,
goes
crocodile.
right towards this thing. And he attacks that guy with a big old bite. You guys watch his jaws open, and you're like, thank God that ain't us. Oh, yeah. His vicious jaws snap down on that thing, and that thing is now grappled and restrained. So he's trying to twist. You know how they do that twisty thing when they got something? Okay, Katcha. So you notice that the crocodile is got that method under control for the moment.
Okay, so I'm gonna head out. Oh, I don't want to get in the mud. I'm going down here 20 feet. I'm still on the solid ground. I'm not getting in the mud where I get like slipping mud. And I am going to first do the Hunter's Mark. There it is. Hunter's Mark on me. And I'm going to aim at the mud golem number 1. Do I have to do something to them? Oh, he gets the... Wait, which one does he get? Does he gets the one that's not the IFT one, right? The regular one that just says Hunter's Mark C?
That one goes
Yes.
to you, doesn't it?
The one that for Hunter's Mark, the one that doesn't have the if type goes on the monster.
Right.
Because the if type goes on you and looks for that.
Right, looks for the Hunter's
The
Mark.
tag, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing there, and then I'm going to use my bow.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
oh wait, it's supposed to get no. Okay, now it's damage.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
Okay, and then my second attack, now I should be able to do Colossus Slayer on it.
Yep.
Because it's damaged now.
You could have earlier. It was damaged before.
Oh, it was damaged before? Oh, well.
Well, you didn't know, but... Yeah. Add Colossus.
I did.
Okay.
It has it on there, doesn't it?
Okay.
Yes. Maybe.
Oh, there's 2 dice, so...
Whoa.
Yay!
It
And-
killed it anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will end my turn.
Nice. Good job. You guys are kicking butt. What
Wow.
is going on, Khatri?
Suddenly, things are dying everywhere. So
By the way, shouldn't I have had flame arrows or something on some of my things? Does it like
Probably.
auto roll and give it if it
It should have.
gets a certain thing? Well, I must not have hit it then. I just
Um,
got that.
I
Whatever
got
the
hit. I got hit, and I think I lost No, I didn't lose concentration on it. I don't know.
Maybe there's too many effects and they're offset.
possible. It's dead anyway, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some arrows when we get to town.
Oh, that's why. It's set to go off on your next roll
Oh.
instead of because it lasts for 12 shots.
Ah, I see.
Well, who are we
That's okay.
interrupting,
Originally it said that it was self.
Yep.
Crocodile? That's cool.
So this crocodile so far isn't attacking us.
Correct. He is focused on that Mephit thing.
Alright, so we were looking at this chess piece. Can I do a quick history check before we decide what we're gonna...
We're not out of combat yet. So,
Oh, nice.
The Mephit still exists.
yep.
And we don't know what the crocodile's gonna do once that Mephit's gone.
Mm-hmm. Or vice versa.
Trying to avoid getting...
So, you can move, Khatri, if you don't want to do anything else.
I am still restrained.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead and pass your turn.
Restrained doesn't stop me from doing anything.
Right.
I just can't move.
Okay.
I want to try a new spell. I haven't used this one before.
Okay.
I want to try and Chaos Bolt that Mephit.
Okay. Right in the mouth of the crocodile.
Why not? No offense, crocodile.
Hey, he helped save the bacon.
And who knows, maybe something strange will happen too.
That's true.
Yeah. I hope not.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this one's a little bit weird.
You have to roll
So
2d8, right?
it's not damage, so
Right.
I very specifically didn't target him.
Right.
I
So roll to see what type of damage it is first. And then roll the damage.
So what it says is that I roll the 2d8 plus 1d6. I choose one of the d8s for the damage. Specifically because if both d8s are the same, it hits a second creature.
Okay. Go ahead and just roll them in the regular, and we have to do it manually.
And I'm gonna say the first one, whatever it is, will be the damage type.
Okay. So it's 5 to 5.
It's 12 lightning damage.
Whoa. 12 lightning. I don't know how I'm going to emulate that, but...
It only really matters if the Mephit's resistant to lightning.
It's not. So, I can just drag the damage to the Mephit.
That works.
Ooh, that hurt.
And
Oops.
I have to... Okay, I didn't roll a 1.
That's fine. Alright. So the Mephit tries to break free. So right now he is restrained and grappled. So at this point, all he can do is try to break free. And he's still held fast.
That -1 doesn't help much.
Nope. Not very strong. Felony.
He is in a pickle.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I guess I'll help him out by trying to just kill him. I will.
That's one way to help.
Have it end early. I'm going to target him with my short bow.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You borrowed my 1 from the other day.
Apparently.
But goddamn, let's see. He's gonna take another chomp. So he's still spinning around and pressing down on this mud method. So he takes another chomp on it, like opens its jaw temporarily and clamps down on it again. And it's dying. However, unfortunately for Crocodile, it all of a sudden decides it wants to blow up.
Oh.
Ah.
Death burst. Anything within 5
Wow.
feet.
Good thing nothing's within 5 feet.
But he
That's good.
succeeded. So he avoided its effects.
Oh, the mud method blew up. I thought. Wait.
Yes.
Mud method blew up, or the
Yes.
crocodile blew up?
It blew up in his mouth, but it didn't do anything to him. And I'm going to roll after that to see what the crocodile does.
The crocodile version of Khatri.
So, what would be closest to a morale check? Charisma or wisdom?
Wisdom.
So he's got to make a save. Okay. So he didn't save, so he's out of there. So he
Thanks, Croc.
goes back into the water.
For all of its efforts, it got a mouthful of mud.
Yeah.
No, and it lives in a crappy, swampy.
Hey, this is
water
its
that's
heaven.
off.
Don't talk
Oh,
shit
it
about
likes
his
it?
home. Yeah, this is his home. Don't talk shit about his habitat.
I'm gonna try and get Khatri out of her predicament.
Okay. So roll. Let's see what happens.
Strength or
What-
athletics?
How are you fixing that? Can I help?
Now that we're out of combat, we can just say she's no longer restrained.
Oh, okay. You got
So I can remove that from her. It was on you twice.
I don't question things.
I don't know why. Okay.
Did you miss last episode where he forgot to roll for the 1T? And then when he did roll, the 1T succeeded.
Yeah, of course.
That was funny. I'm going to cure wounds on...
So you guys want to do a short
Felony?
rest? You want to do
Oh,
a short
well-
rest?
Okay, let's do a short rest instead.
Speaking of short rest, I'm not. Yes, I'm fine.
Rest. Short rest. Okay. So you guys gather your wits. The statue that you think that you guys were using before, or that was in your hand, has turned to a brown powder, like dirt.
Now, you said when we came over there, we were following the tracks. We were trying to find the little girl. Are we still trying to do that, or
Yes,
are you ending this?
I'm going to end it, but That's where we're going to pick up Thursday.
And we still haven't found this kid.
No! You're on her trail. That's all I'm going to tell you.
So it looks like the trail is leading toward this boat. But the cloth that we found inside the boat, does that look like it could be the same kind of cloth that the tribe this girl's from wear?
Good question. Make an investigation check after you guys have rested and all that good stuff. You want to use one of your hit die recovery?
Who, me? Nah, I'm fine.
Okay. So, upon investigation, yes, it does match the attire of the villagers. It's kind of this greenish plant-like color, like a stained cloth strip. And apparently she was sitting in the boat, and a little button pressing would fit her size. So that's definitely, she was in that boat at one point.
So I'm going to take the cloth and I'm going to throw it on the ground.
No, we need to take it back. If we take it back to the tribe, then we can show that we, at least that we're on the trail. That was
Katcha,
something.
you can pick it up if you think
Okay,
it's
I will
important.
pick it up. I think it's important.
She
I
doesn't.
just threw it on the ground because I'm mad because
Yeah.
I can't get in the boat.
I understand. I'll pick.
Would that boat be big enough to hold the three of us?
Good question. I was going to bring that up if you guys decided to go across. Okay, here's the deal. It is barely big enough for you guys to all fit in there. And since you didn't actually say you mended it, you still have to fix it.
I'm fine with that. I was hesitant to mend it if we can all fit.
You can all fit.
If we can all fit, then I'm fine.
But it's going to be difficult to control, but you won't have a current or anything going against you. It'll take...
And we know there's crocodiles in this water.
It'll take twice as long to get across, and there is a risk of the boat capsizing or sinking because of the amount of weight on it. So that'll be next week. We'll start with that. So you guys... Or Thursday, excuse me. What we'll do is I have the boat figured out, and when you guys cross, you're going to do a series of checks to get across. Not too many, but probably about 3 different checks to get across. And if one of those fails, then there's a chance that the boat's going to sink or do something. Sound good?
Or there's still the chance of walking there.
Yep. There's still a chance of going around to see if you can find another way.
With all the problems we have with boat, I'm kind of leaning towards walking around. I'm gonna guess that would take longer to do that.
Yes.
I mean, it's safer.
It will probably add. It'll probably add up to 2 days to your journey.
Oh wow, is that far? Okay.
Yep. Because it's kind of a big way around. The jungle uses, in the area that you guys are in, the jungle uses the waterways like roads. So you kind of have to get used to using boats quite often, at least in this area.
Yeah, but does all the water have to be icky, horrible stuff? Why can't it just be water?
Because you're in a jungle and there's a lot of erosion. And in this particular area, it's backfill from a seasonal creek. And this is just a depression in the ground. So it naturally fills up. And when the rain season stops, it slowly dissipates. And it just fills up with alga and leeches and crocodiles and everything else.
Now, if we did take the boat, how long would the boat take to get across if we didn't?
Less than an hour.
Okay, so it's an hour or it's 2 days.
Yep.
I'm concerned that this child might die before we get to it if we go 2 days out of the way. I don't know.
And the reason it's 2 days
we'll have to pick this up.
is because that section on the left is the way you'd have to go. It goes up to a rise and goes up higher into the hills, and then it goes above the river. So then you have to go all the way down and cross the river and then back over. So that's why it's way out of the way.
Well, ladies, YOLO.
Probably worth fixing the boat. We're after a child.
True.
I
All right.
agree. I mean, not hesitantly, I mean, reluctantly agree. But when I think of the child being, who knows what's happening to it, we need to get to it as soon as possible.
Got it.
Well, Katcha, you look like you're not ready to get on the boat.
Yeah, oh, we
We're
weren't
not
doing
getting
that
on
today,
yet.
are we?
No,
Katcha's gonna fix it.
Oh,
but you're
no,
you're sitting there
I'm
contemplating,
oh,
like, what am I doing?
no, there,
She's
happy.
coming. We know she's coming. She just needs her
I
alone
wouldn't
time.
be. Yeah, I'm just thinking.
She's frustrated.
So, yeah. So our next episode, which is
Mhm.
our episode 1,
Yep.
which would be on the 8th of August,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be at UTC 011 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
Yeah, it'll be about an hour and a
7
half earlier,
7 p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific.
Yep.
For us players.
Right.
And
Oh,
DM.
7 p.m. Eastern? Oh, you all love me today. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So it ain't so late.
That's okay. Everyone I play is on the West Coast, so it's fine.
All right.
I noticed that you had 3.5 hours for the episode on the 8th. This one was 2.5 hours. Just
Yeah.
looking at the stream thing, I don't know. I guess you
Yeah, I just guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like you guys to communicate with one another a little bit until we play again. And
Perhaps we can make a group and we could do some role play in between our.
yeah, just don't advance the storyline.
No, just
talking of
Mm-hmm.
who we are and how we came together.
Situations.
That,
Yeah,
but
we need
also
to
you
figure
can
that out.
role play about the child and the situation at hand, what you might want to do, you know.
Why are we so insistent on saving this kid?
Exactly. You guys can argue about it in private.
Hey, just because we're chicks doesn't mean we're.
Back to the treehouse, everybody.
Oh, I found some pictures of a treehouse too. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I actually have a cool map that I might share later that has a, it's an elven village, but it's a treehouse. So it's pretty cool looking.
I've seen that map before.
Yep, it's another Chris map.
Well, then it probably has.
So any
Which one is it in? Do you remember?
some of his older stuff.
Sanders?
No,
okay.
it's not a meander. It's a lot of his older stuff.
Okay.
So today, brought to you by Chris of Game Tile Warehouse. GameTileWarehouse.com, where you can go and find all of your digital VTT map needs. And tokens brought to us by yours truly. I went on the internet, found some cool pictures, and made some tokens for personal use.
Thank you, Pixabay.
Pixabay.com. And, not to mention, thanks all you ladies for showing up, spending some time with me, testing out this, and proofing out this theory here. And hopefully, as time goes on, it'll get better, we'll get more content, and hopefully we can play once in a while, because I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I agree.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right, so we'll call that a wrap. Next time we play, you guys have your credentials saved, right? So we don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is when I come home from work, I will bring the table up. Then that way you guys can log in, an hour or two before, probably an hour before. And if you want to go over your stuff, you can. And then I'll get the stream set up. I kind of already have it set up for Thursday. And I want you guys to think about drop-ins a little.
What's that?
that's when one of you guys can't make it, and we have a substitute kind of character. I really don't want anyone playing your character. I would prefer that it was a drop-in, like the Drunken Cleric. We might do that. Or we might have
roasted.
Roasted.
Kind of like how Quinn wants to do the secondary, the Waterdeep.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Well, I don't know if Erelon can play on a Thursday because he has a 4E game tonight,
Right.
so he would have to play on some other night.
Right, but we would definitely, open that up to staff and to people who can play. Even a new person can play.
There's going to be a lot of people replacing my spot. I mean, not me, but
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because I'm going to be missing until like December probably.
Right.
Or maybe middle of November. I don't know.
But we might play a different day where, we might switch it up. So, never know.
Yeah, like if you guys play on weekends, I probably won't be able to make it.
Right. So we can switch it up so you don't always get left out. Because you have to be part of this Triple Threat 3, or otherwise it isn't.
Very true. But I mean, I understand if you guys want to play when I can't come play with ya.
Yep.
Get Brad in here.
What we'll do is...
It's an option.
Yeah, it is.
Good draw.
What we'll do is I'll make up some other characters. I'm going to make a drunken Aarakocra alcoholic cleric. Or a monk. And then I'm going to make another person that you guys may or may not like too much. And then...
Can we have Nuriel the turtle?
Yeah. Yeah, we might need him to be a little tanky. So that might help too.
Well, if I give you my thing, you can grab his stats out of my turtle sphere.
Okay. Sphere.
Jane, who has that crazy laugh? Is that Zarin?
Yeah, that's Zarin. He's got a crazy...
That is crazy spooky laugh.
Yeah. He's got a crazy schedule, though.
Okay. So anything else, ladies, before we go?
Can't wait for Thursday. Is it Thursday yet?
All right. I'm going to end the stream in a couple minutes. Anybody that's still left watching us, thank you for dropping by. We are just kind of showing the community kind of how a game might unfold, even behind the scenes a little bit. Like we went through a little bit of planning and backstory stuff. If I can summarize what was said in private to a point, I would like to see that, if one of you could document some of it. So we can put it in our notes. I don't need every word, just basically anything pertinent to the plot.
I don't think you're talking to me because I don't remember saying anything.
Well, if you're going to roleplay outside of the game, if it's anything that touches on the plot or what's going on, that's the only thing I need.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah. I don't need a whole story, just a little summary so when we come back, I'm not totally in the dark if I don't read everything you guys type.
So you need a synopsis.
Kinda.
Why don't you just join our group?
I am, but I'm not going to be able to maintain watching it the whole time.
You're not going to leave?
No.
That makes me Hannah mad.
Alright. So, I'm assuming you guys are resting, and we're going to call this a night. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the game. Good playing with the girl.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, chat.
Bye-bye.